Is your golden retriever truly hyper, or is that bright golden body racing through the room because it is excited, confused, and maybe even overwhelmed by something you have not noticed yet? Many owners see jumping, pacing, panting, and wagging, then assume the dog simply has too much energy, but excitement and stress can look almost identical for a few confusing minutes. With their feathery tails, soft brown eyes, floppy ears, and friendly golden coats, golden retrievers are built to look open and social, which makes their early stress signals easy to miss. That matters because this breed often tries to stay close, cheerful, and cooperative, even when its nervous system is struggling, so people mistake discomfort for playfulness and call it hyper behavior. A truly overexcited golden usually has extra energy that needs direction, while a stressed golden is carrying emotional pressure, and those two states ask for completely different kinds of help. One dog needs structure, outlets, and a calm pause after excitement, but the other needs safety, distance, and relief before it can think clearly enough to listen. The first clue is not the movement itself, but the feeling inside the movement, because happy arousal looks loose and springy, while stress usually makes the whole body look tighter. So before you judge the behavior, ask one simple question: what happened right before this? Because context often reveals more truth than the motion you notice first. If your golden starts bouncing after greeting you, spotting a ball, or hearing the leash, that often points to excitement, especially when the trigger is clear and familiar. If the same dog becomes restless after a loud sound, a crowded room, rough handling, conflict, or too much unpredictable activity, stress becomes the more likely explanation. Look at the spine, shoulders, and neck, because a hyper golden tends to curve, wiggle, and rebound with soft muscles, while a stressed dog often holds tension through the front end. Now watch the tail carefully, since excitement usually creates broader, looser wagging that travels through the hips, but stress often produces a lower, faster, tighter wag or an uncertain tail. The mouth can tell you even more, because an energetic golden often carries an open, playful expression, while a stressed golden may close the mouth, lick the lips, or pant in a cool room. The eyes also change, and that difference is powerful. Excitement brings softer eyes and quick engagement, while stress can widen the eyes, increase blinking, or show that pale crescent called whale eye. Even the ears help, because a bouncy dog wears them lightly and changes expression easily, while a stressed golden may pin them back longer, especially when pressure keeps building around the dog. Movement patterns matter too, because excitement tends to burst in playful waves, but stress often repeats itself in narrow loops, like pacing the same path or circling doorways again and again. A hyper golden usually checks back into the world quickly, grabbing a toy, bowing, or responding to your voice, while a stressed golden may look busy but feel mentally far away. Recovery time is one of the clearest tests, because healthy excitement rises fast and falls fast, but stress lingers, and the dog stays watchful long after the trigger should be over. Offer play and see what happens. The overexcited dog often channels into chase, tug, or a goofy bow, while the stressed dog may mouth aimlessly, avoid the game, or grab without joy. Offer a simple cue next, because a merely excited golden can often sit, touch, or wait after one calm reminder, while a stressed dog may stare, fidget, or seem unable to process. Food is another useful clue, since many energetic dogs will still take a treat eagerly, but stress often lowers appetite, slows chewing, or makes the dog sniff the food and turn away. Sniffing can be deceptive, because playful dogs sniff with curiosity and move on, while stressed dogs sniff as a coping tool, repeatedly checking the ground, corners, and exits to self-soothe. Listen to the voice, too, because excitement often sounds brighter and more varied, while stress may show up as repetitive whining, sudden sharp barking, or low restless vocalizing that does not resolve. Contact with people also changes meaning, since a hyper golden leans in with happy energy, but a stressed golden may become clingy, press against your legs, or shadow you for reassurance. Some stress signals are small and easy to dismiss, like yawning when not tired, licking the nose, shaking off without being wet, lifting one paw, or scratching when nothing itchy is there. Those are called displacement behaviors, and they often appear when the dog is trying to cope with internal tension, not when it is simply overflowing with healthy, playful energy in the moment. Golden retrievers can fool people here, because they are so social that they may keep wagging, keep approaching, and even keep carrying a toy while their body is quietly asking for help. That is why wagging alone proves almost nothing, since a tail can move during joy, uncertainty, appeasement, or conflict, and the rest of the body must explain what the tail means. Think about greetings at the door. If your golden jumps, spins, grabs a toy, and settles after a minute, you are probably seeing excitement more than stress. But if visitors arrive and the dog pants, paces, scans faces, cannot settle, and keeps checking escape routes, that pattern points away from hyperactivity and towards social stress. On walks, excitement often looks like eager pulling toward scents, birds, or friendly people, followed by quick recovery, while stress may bring freezing, crouching, darting away, or frantic leash pressure. At the dog park, an overexcited golden may bounce rudely and need a pause, but a stressed golden often hovers, overmonitors, body slams, or cannot disengage from one dog for long. Around children, a hyper dog may get silly and mouthy from stimulation, yet a stressed dog often shows tighter posture, repeated lip licking, escape attempts, or sudden shutdown behind furniture. After exercise, the difference becomes even clearer, because a dog with extra energy usually relaxes once the body is satisfied, while a stressed dog may stay restless even when physically tired. That is why more exercise is not always the answer, and in some cases it makes things worse by stacking arousal on top of fear, frustration, or too much sensory pressure. When people call a stressed golden hyper and keep adding games, guests, noise, or commands, the dog can look busier and busier while feeling less and less safe. The better response is to lower the emotional temperature first by reducing noise, increasing distance, slowing your own movements, and giving the dog an easy place to settle. For many Goldens, that calm place might be a familiar bed near you, a quiet room with water, or a predictable sniff walk away from the crowded situation. If the dog is merely overexcited, help it organize energy with simple cues, short pauses, reward-based structure, and brief decompression, rather than punishing the movement itself or scolding in frustration. If the dog is stressed, do not demand perfect obedience in that moment, because the nervous system needs regulation before learning can happen and before your Golden can make good choices. Watch how fast the body softens after you help, because relaxation is feedback, and the return of slower breathing, looser muscles, and normal curiosity tells you chose well. Keep a pattern journal for a week, noting triggers, body language, recovery time, appetite, and sleep, because repeated patterns reveal whether you are seeing excess energy or chronic stress. Sleep deserves special attention, since an energetic but emotionally healthy Golden usually crashes deeply after a full day, while a stressed dog may nap lightly and startle awake. The same is true indoors, where a hyper dog often invents fun, steals socks, and recruits you into play, but a stressed dog patrols windows, hallways, and doors. Pay attention to temperature and panting, because hard play can explain heavy breathing, yet panting without heat or exercise, especially with wide eyes, deserves a stress-based interpretation first. Also notice whether your Golden can still be comforted, because excitement usually bends toward connection, while stress sometimes makes touch unhelpful, especially if the dog is trapped or overhandled. Stress can be loud, but it can also be quiet, and some Golden Retrievers do not explode at all, they simply follow, stare, hesitate, and stop behaving like their easy self. That subtle version is easy to miss, especially in such a famously friendly breed, yet it still matters, because silent stress can grow until the dog begins avoiding, guarding, or snapping. So when should you seek professional help? Not later but soon, because that decision can protect both the dog and the family from rehearsing the same distress every day. Get guidance when the restlessness is frequent, when recovery takes a long time, when appetite drops, when sleep stays broken, or when the dog seems unable to settle in normal life. You should also reach out if stress signs appear around handling, grooming, guests, children, noises, or separation, because repeated emotional strain rarely improves through guesswork alone at home. A veterinarian can rule out pain, skin irritation, digestive trouble, or medical causes of panting and agitation, and a qualified trainer or behavior professional can map the emotional triggers. That matters for Golden Retrievers because their cheerful reputation can hide discomfort for a long time, which means families sometimes respond too late and then blame the dog's personality. But your dog is not trying to be difficult, dramatic, or stubborn, it is simply expressing whether the body is overflowing with energy or bracing against something that feels unsafe. When you learn to see the difference, your Golden starts receiving the right kind of help, and that is where calmer days, better trust, and better behavior truly begin. The playful dog gets guidance without shame, the stressed dog gets safety without pressure, and both versions of your Golden feel more understood in the hands of a patient human. So the real goal is not to stop movement at all costs, but to read the meaning beneath the movement, because behavior is a message before it is ever a problem. In a Golden Retriever, that message often arrives wrapped in sweetness, wagging, and bright eyes, which is exactly why careful observation matters more than quick labels in daily life. When you slow down enough to notice loose joy versus tight worry, you stop correcting the wrong issue and start becoming the steady partner your dog was hoping to find. And that may be the kindest distinction of all, a hyper Golden asks for direction, but a stressed Golden asks for safety, and loving them well begins by knowing which one you see. Start with mornings, because the first hour of the day can reveal a lot. A hyper Golden wakes bright and ready, but a stressed Golden wakes already scanning, already panting, and already behind. Watch how your dog leaves the bed, because healthy energy often stretches, shakes off, and moves into the day, while stress can rise as instant vigilance before anything difficult has even happened. Feeding time gives another honest clue, since an excited Golden may dance and spin around breakfast, but a stressed Golden can hover, hesitate, or abandon the bowl after only a few bites. Listen to the footsteps inside the house, because playful energy moves with bounce and curiosity, while stress often sounds repetitive, urgent, and fixed on windows, hallways, and doorways. Even grooming tells a story, because a merely excited golden may wiggle during brushing, yet a stressed golden often licks, stiffens, yawns, or turns the head away before the brush even touches fur. Handling the paws is especially revealing, since overexcited dogs may squirm and protest briefly, but stressed dogs often freeze, pull away sharply, or hold tension through the whole shoulder and neck. When a leash appears, do not only watch the jumping, because the emotional difference lives in the details of the face, the tail, the breathing, and how quickly the dog can recover. A hyper golden may bounce in circles and then offer a sit, but a stressed golden may grab the leash, whine, pace away, return, and still look conflicted about leaving the house. Thresholds matter more than most people realize, because doors, gates, cars, and narrow hallways can create pressure, and stressed dogs often show their discomfort at those tight transition points first. If your golden slows down at the door, sniffs the frame, licks the nose, and hesitates, that pause may not be stubbornness at all, it may be emotional friction. The car is another common place for confusion, because some goldens tremble, pant, and scramble, then get labeled energetic, when they are actually worried long before the ride even starts. A playful dog enters the car with eager momentum and settles after the first burst, but a stressed dog stays restless, drools more, and struggles to find any body position that feels safe. Now think about sounds, because hyperactivity often rises around fun predictors, while stress rises around unpredictability, especially sharp noises, sudden voices, moving objects, and social pressure. When stress is the cause, the body often reacts before the brain has time to think, which is why your golden may look impulsive even though the real issue is emotional overload. That is why punishment so often backfires in these moments, because correction adds social pressure to an already activated nervous system and teaches the dog that confusion now comes with consequences. A stressed golden rarely learns calm from fear, but it can learn that people become harder to trust when it is already trying and failing to feel safe. In contrast, an overexcited golden usually benefits from simple predictability, because routines, pauses, and clear expectations help the dog move from impulsive energy into cooperative behavior without conflict. Think of it this way: excitement needs guidance, while stress needs relief, and mixing those responses can keep the problem alive far longer than it needs to stay. Many families accidentally reward frantic behavior by moving too fast, talking too much, repeating cues, or reaching in at the worst moment when the dog is already close to tipping over. Your calm matters deeply here, because golden retrievers read human energy closely, and an anxious, rushed, or frustrated owner can make a stressed dog feel even less certain. The best first move is often smaller than people expect: soften your body, lower your voice, reduce pressure, and let the dog gather information before you ask for anything difficult. Then watch what your golden chooses, because choice is information, and stressed dogs often choose distance, slower sniffing, side glances, or a protected resting place when given the chance. If the dog chooses a toy, a bow, a loose tail, and re-engagement with you, that leans more toward excitement, especially when the body stays soft and the recovery stays quick. If the dog chooses corners, exits, your legs, or constant scanning, that is a different message, and it deserves a response built around safety rather than performance. One of the most useful home tests is the reset test: lower the stimulation for 2 minutes and watch whether the body softens or whether the tension keeps leaking out. An excited golden often resets surprisingly fast, but a stressed golden may still pant, pace, or keep checking the environment, even after the room becomes quiet and the trigger is gone. Another helpful clue is how the dog uses its mouth, because happy arousal often comes with purposeful carrying, playful mouthing, and easy release, while stress can create hard gripping or restless nibbling. Golden retrievers love carrying things, so this detail matters. When the toy looks like joy, it is usually joy, but when the toy looks like a coping object, the body will tell you. Be careful with the word stubborn, because many dogs called stubborn are actually conflicted, overloaded, or too tense to process what the human is asking in that exact second. The question is not whether your golden knows the cue in general, but whether the nervous system is available enough in that moment to use the cue well. This is also why the same dog can look perfectly trained one day and impossible the next, because behavior changes when the emotional load changes, even if the command never changed at all. Hormones, pain, poor sleep, digestive discomfort, and repeated stress can all lower the dog's coping ability, making ordinary moments feel much harder than they did the week before. That is why patterns over time matter more than one dramatic clip, because the truth usually lives in repetition, not in a single viral-looking burst of chaotic behavior. If your golden struggles in the same places, at the same times, or around the same kinds of pressure, you are looking at a pattern, and patterns can be understood. Once you see the pattern, your job becomes simpler: protect the dog from overload where possible, teach calm skills outside the hard moment, and stop rehearsing unnecessary distress. Calm skills can be very ordinary, like settling on a mat, taking a slow treat, following a hand target, sniffing in grass, or resting behind your leg near a doorway. These are not tricks to suppress feelings, they are supports that help your golden stay connected enough to choose better, instead of spilling into frantic movement or defensive behavior. For excitement, short training games can work beautifully, because they turn energy into thinking, but for stress, the first priority is almost always reducing pressure before adding challenge. Good support often looks almost boring from the outside, and that is a sign you are doing it right, because nervous systems recover best in simple, predictable, low-conflict environments. Over time, a well-supported golden does not just behave better, it breathes better, sleeps better, recovers faster, and begins to trust that home is a place of clarity. This is especially important in a breed that wants to please, because golden retrievers may keep trying through discomfort long after another dog would have clearly refused. That willingness is beautiful, but it can also hide trouble, and loving this breed well means noticing the polite signs before the dog has to shout. When you respect those small signs, you protect confidence, prevent escalation, and teach your dog that communication works before panic, guarding, or snapping ever enters the picture. When you miss those signs, the dog may become louder, wilder, or more shut down, not because it got worse overnight, but because subtler messages did not change the situation. So next time your golden starts bouncing, pacing, panting, or grabbing a toy, pause before labeling the behavior and read the whole story written across the body. Look at the eyes, the mouth, the tail, the shoulders, the pace, the recovery, the appetite, the trigger, and the choice the dog makes when given a little room. Those details turn confusion into understanding, and once you understand the state, you stop guessing and start helping with the kind of response that actually fits. That is how trust grows in ordinary moments, not through perfect obedience, but through repeated experiences where your golden feels seen correctly and supported at the right time. The dog that is hyper is not bad, and the dog that is stressed is not broken, both are simply asking different questions through movement, breathing, and attention. Your role is not to silence those questions, but to answer them wisely, with guidance for excitement and protection for stress, again and again until calm becomes easier. And when you learn that difference, your golden retriever no longer has to shout through the body just to be understood inside its own home. In the end, the kindest owners are not the ones who control every movement, but the ones who can gently tell when a golden heart is bursting with joy or quietly asking for help.